Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope you had a great day overall, man. I'm back at y'all with some more boxing talk. We're gonna be getting into the downfall of Floyd Mayweather and what fighters can learn based off of his situation. We're gonna be speaking about the ongoing tension between Devin the Dream Haney and Jaron Ennis. We're going to get into Rolly Romero being elevated to super champion in the WBA, and we're going to get into some open boxing topics. But before we get into all of that, if y'all could please hit the like button on the way in, that'd be very much appreciated. We on the road to 4K. We well into the 3,500 mark, looking to crack that 3,600 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? How we feeling? How we feeling? How was y'all days overall, man? Talk to me. Shout out to my boy Eduardo Alvarez. What's going on, brother? How we feeling? Salute, brother. Sean Terrence, what up? What's going on, man? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while, brother. Hope everything is well with you and yours. Y'all go ahead and get the likes up. As soon as y'all come in, get them likes up, man. It is very much appreciated. Chris Maldonado, what up, brother? What's going on? Marlon, what up? Marissa Alvarez is in the building as always. Shout out to the little sis. Donald Banks, what up, brother? How are we? We got some things that we currently need to discuss. By the way, my son's birthday is coming up, so his registry will be available for any of y'all who support the young champ. If y'all want to come through and get him a little gift or two, the registry will be on the way. Very much appreciated. Josue Hernandez, what up? Justin Jackson, what up? That's my boy. What's up, man? Talk to me. What's on your mind, man? What's on your mind? Before we get into this this dialogue. He said, we're going to show out on the registry for sure. Yeah, my boy J. Cash showed out last year. Him and the wifey. Salute. Josue said, happy early birthday to your son. My son's birthday is June 12th, but I appreciate it, man. That's in about like 3 more weeks. Time is flying, man. Got myself a 3-year-old. Beautiful situation, man. Beautiful, beautiful. Look like I ain't have a haircut in like 3 years neither, but we're going to take care of that this weekend. Ain't nothing to it. As soon as you see that unibrow growing in, that's how you know it's time. It's a funny thing about Floyd Mayweather, he can make 25 mil in one fight and be up again. I mean, the problem is that he has to continuously do it in order to get himself out of situations. We'll talk about it. Marlon said again, old Mark, hey man, I'm enjoying every step of the way, man. I mean, take care of myself, you feel me? I could shave this facial hair off and still look like the young boy I was in high school, so I'm blessed. I mean, and shit, when it get time to being old, then we just gonna be old, man. Like I ain't really worried about none of that, man. I'm enjoying the moment. You feel me? I don't feel any different than what I did when I was a teenager, young adult, none of that. So we blessed. I stay active. You know what I mean? I keep my mind sharp, continue to learn, grow, progress, get better each and every day. So definitely don't feel old, but there's a time for everybody to get old. You feel me? Well, Sway Hernandez said, yo, I don't give a shit about the Usyk fight. I'm looking forward to Foster versus Ford next week. Absolutely. That's the shit that we talk. That's the shit that we gonna talk about. You know what I mean? Like Usyk versus Rico, it's like, bro, I don't give a fuck about that shit, bro. I'm gonna keep it real. Like, I mean, we can talk about it, like if that's what y'all want to talk about, but I have no genuine interest in talking about that fight because, for one, it don't progress the sport of boxing, man. Like I said, that's entertainment. And from what I understand, Turkey Al-She said he had another entertainment type fight lined up for Usyk. Bro, have at it, bro. Have a fucking blast, bro. But that don't mean that I'm a supporter nor talk about it. I'm not gonna add to the promotion of that fight. You know what I mean? Like it don't do nothing for boxing now. If you give us Usyk versus EJ Cabello, now we can have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like a fight that we actually want to see. You feel me? Somebody who's actually relevant in the sport of boxing. Then we could talk about it. But until then, it's like, bro, if you're not doing for me, I'm not doing y'all a favor because us as boxing fans, we don't understand. Y'all don't understand how powerful we are as fans. The moment that we give something our attention, we're turning nothing into something, and that something is dollar signs. So the more that we talk about something, the more popular it gets. The more popular it gets, the more they're able to monetize off of it. So us as boxer fans, us as in media, we could be powerful in a good way and a bad way. If we're not talking about it, there's a strong likelihood it's not gonna do too well from a numbers perspective. But if we all in and we having conversations about it and we're able to get boxing fans to be fully invested in that storyline, then they're gonna see some dollar signs. You feel what I'm saying? But like I'm at this point where it's like I remember when I was coming up when I was a young boy, because I was making videos back when I was like 17, 18 years old, and I was just big and wide-eyed about the sport and just wanted to talk about every single thing. And bro, it gets to the point when you get older, bro, because I'm in my late 20s now. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, bro, if this shit not gonna push the sport of boxing forward, if it's not gonna if it's not gonna help the sport be the sport that it once was, back when it was like the number one sport, in the country, ain't no point in even speaking about it. What the fuck does Usyk versus Rico do for boxing? Except, besides being entertainment. And niggas just living in hypotheticals. Well, if Rico's able to hit Usyk's body, if Rico's able to be physical, if Rico could take Usyk's punch, bro, I don't care about fights where I just gotta dwell on hypotheticals in order to get excited. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to think about what if. EJ Cabello versus Usyk. I want to see shit like that. I want to see how Usyk is able to fend off EJ Cabello. Is EJ Cabello durable enough? Is he able to walk through Usyk's fire in order to, have some results go his way? Can Usyk take that body attack? Can he take that relentlessness from EJ Cabello? Because EJ Cabello actually has a history of doing shit in the sport of boxing, so it's something to actually be excited about. Rico, I don't know who the fuck he is. I never heard of dude. Prior to him signing for this fight with Usyk, apparently he was like this fucking kickboxing god. I don't watch kickboxing. So why the fuck would I care to? I rarely watch MMA. I don't want to see MMA fighters fight boxers. Why the fuck would I want to watch a kickboxer fight a boxer? Shit makes no sense. You feel what I'm saying? But whatever, man. It is what it is, bro. That's not the first entertainment type of fight. For Turki Al-Sheikh being such a huge boxer fan, he does love to engage in, entertainment type of fights. Because if he was such this boxing fan, then he would, he wouldn't even be interested in making entertainment type of fights, man. Because there's so many great fights to be made in the sport. There's no room. There's really no room. Like it doesn't deserve entertainment fights. Don't really deserve any room in the sport of boxing. Let Aiden Ross and them niggas do that. What's that overtime boxing on KSI? Let them do that. Because when y'all participate in the matchups like that, different than them niggas. I'm gonna keep it real. You just got more money than them. Like everything just screams entertainment about this shit. That's what they trying to turn it into. That's why a lot of motherfuckers say nowadays WWE and boxing is like the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't no different than them niggas. Y'all creating these dumbass matches. Like they see what the fuck Michael Beasley's about to box Lance Stevenson or some shit like that, or do MMA. I seen Ray J about to do MMA. Like, bro, this shit is disgusting, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like, these niggas shouldn't even, and look, at least them niggas not trying to be boxers or they not calling out boxers. These niggas just getting a little bit of bread and they dipping off, right? I get it, whatever. You feel me? But like Turki Al-Sheikh, bro, fucking Anthony Joshua versus Ngannou. I don't know if Tyson Fury and Ngannou was Turki Al-Sheikh, but he did that shit. He might have did that one too. You know what I'm saying? Talking about he wanted to make Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua on his own time. Yeah, I seen Johnny Manziel about to fight. Like this shit is crazy, bro. I'm trying to tell you, when somebody get unalived off this shit, that's when motherfuckers gonna start falling back. Somebody gonna fall victim, unfortunately, and then that's when everybody gonna be like, you know what, bro? Let's leave this boxing shit alone. That's what it's gonna take, because everybody think this shit a joke. And for Turkey Al Sheikh to be this fucking big ass boxer fan, he sure does love to engage in fuckery a whole lot. He sat back and told y'all that he doesn't really care to see what was that fight that we was calling for? He said he didn't really care to see he said that he didn't really care to see fucking EJ Cabiel versus Usyk, but you know, he wants to see Rico versus Usyk. In his mind, that fight just makes so much more sense. And fuck having this in a regular arena. Let's have these niggas box outside the pyramids in the middle of the fucking desert. Fuck a regular arena, man. Let's have these niggas box in Times Square. How about like what's up with all this extra shit, my nigga? You had niggas doing finding their way, like their ring entrances was in cars and taxi cabs and all that. Like you more infatuated with the entertainment aspect in comparison to actually seeing these motherfuckers box. That's why I feel like Turkey always been full of shit. You feel me? But whatever. It is what it is. I ain't gonna dwell on that too much longer, man. I just really want to get into this Floyd Mayweather conversation, but I'm gonna answer a few questions before we get into all of that. My boy Josue Hernandez in the building said, Mazuma, how you felt about Ryan and Taporia guy going at it on X? I don't really think nothing of it, to be honest with you. It's just trash talk at the end of the day. Ryan Garcia like to pop his shit on social media. You know, he loves to be at the center of, attention, especially if it's outside of the ring and then he could go viral. You know, Ryan Garcia gonna be all with it. This nigga's still streaming, you know what I mean? Making up fake fight dates without it being confirmed or anything of that nature. Ilya Taporia is somebody who like to talk shit too. The nigga be clout chasing in his own right. Talk shit about Bud, talk shit about everybody that, the nigga don't want to fight. I heard he be talking shit about the bull Armin, don't want to fight him. Look, I really don't know what's up with these guys. I really don't care. I don't really give a fuck about Ilya Taporia. You feel me? I really don't. The nigga about to fight Justin Gaethje been washed. So it's like you talking all this big shit, but you fighting niggas that's not even in their prime or anything of that sort. So, I don't really give a fuck about Ilya Taporia talking about. He's one of them niggas that, has superior striking skills in the octagon. And some, they get so big headed, they get so arrogant that they think it's going to translate over to boxing. Ilya, you're a good boxer for an MMA fighter. You are not a good boxer for a boxer. And I don't know how you and Ryan Garcia will go as a fight, but I guarantee you ain't never been punched by a nigga in an octagon who has the technique of a Ryan Garcia, and he may very well put your fucking lights out. As much as I don't like to give Ryan Garcia credit for anything because he's a fucking drug cheat, and I'm glad Ilya Taporia brought that shit up with Ryan Garcia because, he needs to be told that more often. You feel what I'm saying? Because I feel like motherfuckers don't tell him that shit enough, and there's a lot more shit that he could have brought up to really kill his little vibe that he had going on. But, it is what it is. We all know Ryan Garcia is a coward. We all know he's a drug cheat. Only thing I didn't really like is that Ilya Taporia recognized that fight that he cheated in as a win. And it's like, when y'all do that shit, bro, it was like pretty much contradictory because you were shitting on the man. You were shitting on the man for being on performance enhancement drugs. Yet you gave the nigga credit for fighting somebody on performance enhancement drugs. So you gonna shit on the nigga for being on PEDs, but reward him for beating somebody while on PEDs. The reality of the situation is he didn't beat Devin Haney. And the moment that y'all go ahead, y'all can't say that y'all are against performance enhancement drugs, but then give niggas credit for beating niggas while being on performance enhancement drugs. That's a complete contradiction. He didn't beat him. You feel me? That was ruled a no contest. Nobody won, nobody lost. You could thank Ryan Garcia for that. The motherfucker fought clean, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But that's not the reality, so we have to have that conversation. Every time that fight is brought up, you need to acknowledge that man cheated. He did not fight Devin Haney on fair grounds. Y'all can go ahead and create whatever context y'all want. The reality is he had the shit in his system. You feel me? So there's that. That's what I think about that. interaction back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Don't really give a fuck about Taporia. He need to go ahead and fight somebody. You feel me? He got some good wins and shit like that. But the way that he popped that shit, bro, you know what I mean? He gonna have to prove a little bit more. These little MMA niggas, man, they get 2, 3 wins or whatever. You know what I mean? These niggas be thinking that they the best fighter in the world, that these niggas is all-time greats, they Hall of Famers. And I know UFC history ain't too deep, so you don't got to do much in order to be great, as opposed to boxing where you have to continuously do shit because there's so much great fighters that came before you in order to prove that you great. But like I don't know, bro. Like Ilya Taporia, he talk a little bit too much for my liking. You know what I mean? If niggas like GSP ain't talking crazy, if niggas like DC, John Jones, if niggas like who's the other great, Mighty Mouse, if niggas like them ain't popping that shit, bro, then you need to shut the fuck up respectfully. You feel me? Like, or disrespectfully, however the fuck you want to take it. If them niggas ain't popping they shit, there's no reason why you should be, because you ain't accomplished a third of what either of them niggas accomplished. Anderson Silva, fucking GSP, John Jones, Mighty Mouse, you know what I'm saying? Daniel Cormier. If them niggas is humble, you need to shut the fuck up, nigga. You should be acting like you a mute out here in these streets. You feel me? So that's just how I be feeling, bro. These niggas be getting mad, arrogant, and act like they shit don't stink because they got a couple good wins. It's like, nigga, you got a lot to go through in this shit. You feel me? And Ilya, he low key soft. This nigga's pulling out of fights because he having baby mama drama and shit. Nigga, you was a hoe, nigga. Keep that shit real, bro. Fuck out of here. Everybody and their mom go through that shit, nigga. Your situation ain't nothing different. But your baby mom was fucking on somebody else, nigga. That shit, bro. That's everybody, bro. Everybody go through that shit, nigga. You gotta keep fighting through that shit. If you gotta take a little break to attend to you, nigga, shut up, nigga. Everybody go through family shit. Niggas go through family court every day and still go out here and do what the fuck they need to do as men. Fuck is you talking about? So you just like Ryan Garcia, pussy ass, pulling up, mental health, mental health, mental health. Nah, nigga, you had them PEDs in your system and you ain't know how to flush them bitches out, allegedly. And your hormones was all over the place and you couldn't keep your fucking self intact. That's what happened, allegedly. You know what I mean? Because if you ain't cycling off them roids properly, bro, your hormones be all over the place. And you know what I mean? You could be happy 1 minute and then be crying another minute and saying y'all think them antics with Ryan Garcia was a coincidence? This nigga getting arrested at hotels and all that shit. You think that's a coincidence? You think Ryan Garcia, acting the way that he was acting, and then, after a little while, after a year, he all calmed down into himself, and you think that's a coincidence? Come on, man. But anyways, man, it is what it is. Let's get into this conversation, y'all, because I really want to speak about this, and it is heartbreaking to speak about, in all honesty, but this is a conversation that needs to be had. You feel what I'm saying? There's something that needs to be had. So shout out to the 30 people that's in the building. That is the viewership high so far. So this is a perfect segue into talking about this conversation, because in all honesty, this is a conversation that a lot of people need to have. You know what I'm saying? In regard to Floyd Mayweather. You feel me? And how I basically want to talk about this, man. I want to preface this by saying that this is coming from somebody who, myself, Marcus Rosa, Mazuma TV. I was one of the biggest Floyd Mayweather fans on the face of this earth. You feel what I'm saying? I watched Floyd Mayweather from his pro debut all the way to his final fight with Conor McGregor, man. I studied him religiously. You know what I'm saying? While I was boxing, I broke down his footwork, his defense, his timing, his mentality, his business moves, just about everything you could look at. And at one point, I swear to God, I was a part of the money team, bro. I used to add the hashtags on my tweets and all types of shit. So this is not me hating on Floyd. This is not me trying to tear him down. To be real, it really break my heart that I even got to speak on this. And I tried to avoid this conversation for as long as I could, but I really feel like this could be a teachable moment for my guys in the building, man. So, like, you know what I mean? And I think what made me different from a lot of like Floyd fans overall, that I wasn't just inspired by him when he became Money May all day. I was inspired by his actual sacrifices on the come up. I watched this man sacrifice over and over and over again until he was finally able to take over the game. You know, like most people admire Floyd while he was already at the top. I admired him because of what he did in order to get to the top. The discipline, hard work, dedication, the obsession with just wanting to be great. You know what I mean? The willingness to become the villain, uh, even if that's what it took to take over his destiny, he was willing to take that role. That's the Floyd that inspired me the most. You feel what I'm saying? And when he hung up the gloves, I was really happy, bro. You know what I'm saying? This man retired on his own terms, like Lennox Lewis. You know, the sport didn't retire him. He retired from the sport. That's very important, bro. That shit like that really mattered to me. Like, we seen a lot of legends. We ain't got to get into names that got broken down. They lost brutally and became sad stories in front of the world. Floyd walked away without a blemish. And people hated that, man. They hated the fact that he beat the system. They hated the fact that he, got untouched. To me, that's like the perfect ending for one of my all-time favorite fighters in that moment. A lot of things have changed since then. You know what I mean? You won't really find one of my top 5 favorites, but it is what it is. But whether people want to admit it or not, Floyd Mayweather changed boxing forever, man. He showed these fighters that you don't have to be slaves to promoters. He showed fighters that they could become the A side eventually through hard work, dedication, and constantly winning. He showed them how to turn boxing into ownership, leverage, and was able to create generational wealth. 50-0, beat legends, hundreds of millions of dollars, became TBE. There was a point where Floyd Mayweather wasn't just a boxer. This man was literally the example of success whenever you talked about being successful in the sport of boxing. And throughout the years, you would like occasionally, especially during the Conor McGregor build-up, hear rumors of financial issues or hardships surrounding Floyd. But every single time, he always seemed to figure it out because of the massive paydays that he kept running into. He was fortunate to be a part of many mega fights, plenty huge events, 9-figure checks, whether it was De La Hoya, Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, Conor McGregor, about to fight Manny Pacquiao again from what I'm hearing, and Mike Tyson. Floyd always had a mountain of money coming in that allowed him to stay ahead of everything and, just was able to figure shit out. But now, with him being retired and being out of the game so long, this shit just seems to be a little different. All these reports, lawsuits, the allegations, financial disputes, and controversy, that shit's hitting him all at one time, man, like a ton of bricks. And, I want to be careful because at the same time, Floyd been denying a lot of this shit. And legally speaking, I guess you would say, these are reports and allegations, but from the outside looking in, it just looks like the whole pause is getting deeper and deeper faster to the point where it feels inevitable that eventually anybody, including Floyd in that position, will drown under the weight of trying to maintain whatever empire and lifestyle that he's been trying to maintain since retirement. And, watching that in itself, bro, that's hard to watch as a fan, even as I grew to dislike Floyd as time went on, because the deeper conversation isn't really about, Floyd Mayweather being broke. The deeper conversation is about the boxing, the culture boxing created after Floyd Mayweather hung up the gloves. Somewhere along the way, the image became more important than reality itself. You know what I'm saying? Looking rich became more important than building long-term stability. Fighters started chasing records, chasing undefeated records. We see it today. The jewelry, Floyd. The cars, Floyd. Private jets, Floyd. The entourages, Floyd. Social media flexing, that was Floyd. You know what I'm saying? So sustainability, peace, and life after boxing, that's not what people really talk about nowadays. And this is where future fighters need to really start focusing in on and paying attention. You know what I'm saying? You could learn from Floyd's success. You could learn from his discipline, learn the self-belief, learn business intelligence. You know what I mean? Learn how he controlled negotiations and having great businessmen around him. Learn how he made boxing work for him instead of working against him. But don't become addicted to the image like Floyd, y'all. Don't build a lifestyle where you had to keep making millions just to survive. You know what I'm saying? Don't surround yourself with people who only love you when you're giving them a fucking check. Don't let being rich become your entire identity as a man. You know what I mean? Like we really seen this with Floyd. He actually became Money Mayweather instead of just allowing it to be an alter ego. Because for real, boxing is temporary. Fame is temporary. And money can be temporary if you're not using it to help you build generational wealth. And honestly, when I look at these young fighters, that's, Devin, Boots, Shakur, Tank, Keyshawn, whoever, all these dudes that's coming up now and are currently the present. I hope they just don't study the high points on Floyd, study the full story, not just the highlight reel and the money pictures, and studying what happens, when his career is all over. Study the pressure that comes with maintaining an image for decades. Study what happens when a fighter starts believing he has to outspend and live outside of his wage. You feel what I'm saying? The saddest part about Floyd is when you look over his career, the man won. He already won. That's what makes this shit like horrific to me. He beat boxing. He beat the system. He accomplished everything a fighter could ever dream of accomplishing in the game. So to even hear conversations like this and hear 50 Cent clowning him and all that shit, man, this is somebody who looked like he was untouchable at one point in time. So yeah, looking at this shit, bro, this shit hurts to see. You know what I'm saying? And Floyd Mayweather became a sad story at the end of the day. You feel me? When I never thought he could have, but it wasn't a sad story from inside of the ring. You know what I mean? It was a sad story that ended up happening outside of it, which I never thought would have happened because all these smart investments, I thought he was good. You know what I'm saying? We always fear seeing Floyd old, broken down, punch drunk, or getting carried out on his shield after staying in the game too long. But, that never happened. He escaped boxing on his own terms, which I'm happy about. And that's why so many of us respected him, how the way, he beat the sport. He preserved himself. He walked away with his faculties, his undefeated record, and what looked like to be the perfect ending. You know what I mean? So to see these reports on all these different financial websites, the controversies, the financial rumors, and what appears to be his constant need to keep returning to exhibition fights to fight absolutely nobody for money grabs. You know what I'm saying? It hurts to watch as somebody who at one point in time when I was young, genuinely admired him. Man, you couldn't say shit about Floyd to me. And again, I'm not saying that Floyd broke, man. I don't know exactly what's going on with him. He denied a lot of these claims. Look like he's still living well. But what I'm saying is this. When a fighter who made that kind of money keeps coming back over and over again, people like you and me are naturally going to ask questions. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that it bothered me, man. It really do. You know what I mean? Because there was a point in time where I thought Floyd was able to break the cycle, because old fighters been through similar things. And Floyd was supposed to be an example of freedom that looked like what freedom looked like after boxing. The man who got away clean, the man who never had to come back, the man who showed fighters that they could leave the game before the game destroyed them. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, it's looking like Floyd wasn't able to actually accomplish that. So instead, now it feels like we're watching somebody, trying to maintain this wealthy lifestyle, this image, this empire, that may have become too heavy for him to carry forever. You know what I'm saying? And it's heartbreaking seeing that. Floyd got kids, he got grandkids. You know what I'm saying? So, and I just heard this motherfucker, he just found out a 4-year-old that's his. You know what I'm saying? So even after beating boxing still found a way to keep their hooks on him. You know what I'm saying? And, I would have never thought in a million years that it would have been Floyd. I don't really know what else to say about all of that, man. I guess it's not about how you win fights. I guess it ain't really about how to make money. But, I guess what's really important in all of this is protecting your peace, your future, your identity, and your life after, the applause stops and the light stops shining and all of that shit, man, because the real goal shouldn't be becoming Money Mayweather, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? The real goal in actuality should be becoming free. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm watching Floyd Mayweather go through all these different alleged obstacles and financial ruin, supposed, financial ruin, bro, it is very heartbreaking to see. And I guess we could learn from people that came, before Floyd and after Floyd that was able to maintain some type of financial, freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the first people that I come to when I think about, legends who was able to walk away and, be financially secure. I'm thinking about guys like George Foreman. You know what I mean? Shout out RIP to George Foreman and all of that good shit. But, he was able to come out with the George Foreman grill and he made more money off of the grill than he ever made in boxing. Smart investment, man. Shout out to the legendary all-time great George Foreman. I'm also thinking about guys like Lennox Lewis, who after he defeated Vitaly Klitschko in the early 2000s, he was able to walk away, live below his means, and keep himself secure and not having to come back to the sport of boxing. Actually have all of his faculties and was able to create broadcast opportunities with PBC and all these different big boxing platforms. I also think about Andre Ward, somebody who left the game at the top. Was able to create broadcast opportunities as well. I seen him on Netflix commentating. I seen him on DAZN. I seen him on, I believe that was DAZN that I seen him on. Also seen him on ESPN for a few years. These are guys who actually get it. They may have not made as much money as Floyd Mayweather. They might not have been as big of stars and icons as Floyd Mayweather. But, once they got a couple dollars together, they were able to put this money together to help it work for themselves, instead of, trying to maintain this image and, spend money on all of this absurd nonsense, giving your money to this big, having a 30, 40 man entourage and they all leeches and they all trying to find a way to benefit off of you. Floyd Mayweather used to travel around with all these different women and they was all on payroll. Why is that necessary? Why is that necessary? Why do you have to keep women on payroll so they could give you some? Floyd, you're Floyd Money Mayweather. Do you know that there's women that'll give you play just based off of your name? All of these hoes going, brother. You feel what I'm saying? Why do you need 80 security guards everywhere you go? You might need security, but do you really need this great wall that you're talking about? All of that shit is expensive. Why do you need 30, 40 cars when you're one man? Why do you need all these different mansions when you can only be one place at a time? You know what I mean? So I think Floyd just really fell in love. Once he became Money Mayweather, it started off as an alter ego, but I guess over time it actually became who he was. And, even in his late 40s, he's still looking to prove to people that he's this rich, successful man. Floyd, we all know you got money, brother. Like, we watched you, hold up 9-figure checks at press conferences and say that you ain't even cashed it yet. Like, we seen you sign one of the biggest deals in boxing history. But we seen you fight Conor McGregor for 9 figures. We seen you have the highest selling pay-per-view fight in sports history. The highest grossing pay-per-view of all time. Like, we seen this happen. Floyd, you don't have to prove to us that you got money. I remember when he was sitting courtside with Jay-Z and them, and he's pulling out a bankroll counting. Why do you have to do that, brother? Why are you even carrying cash as the supposed billionaire that you claim to be? Why do you got to buy $10 million watches or what, bro? You're Floyd Mayweather, man. You could wear a t-shirt. You could wear a t-shirt and sweats with some motherfucking Air Forces for the rest of your life. And I swear niggas will never question your image, bro. We know what it is, bro. You was a big part of our life growing up as boxing fans. There's no way that we will ever throw dirt on your name if you just live like a regular person. Like, I can never understand why Floyd just never learned how to turn that shit off. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Floyd felt like he had to do that in order to maintain friends or solid relationships, or maybe he only feels genuine love when he's providing for other people or he's showing off this flashy lifestyle. Maybe his ego won't allow him to live that lifestyle down, because then he may feel like somebody, they'll go to love somebody else. I don't know exactly what it is with Floyd, bro. Only he knows that. But I want this to be a learning lesson for everybody that's in the sport of boxing, whether you're amateur, whether you're professional. If your long-term goal is to be in the sport of boxing and actually come out successful in the sport of boxing, don't just study Floyd Mayweather highlight reels. Don't just study the Conor McGregor fights. Don't just study him talking about, belts collecting dust and it's all about the money. And you know what I'm saying? I'm a prize fighter. And bro, I want you to study his flaws as well, because this could be a learning lesson. This situation right here, this live right here, may be the reason why you avoid what Floyd ran into in his career. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that if you're gonna be spending big money on shit, make sure it's something that's gonna actually, help you out in the long term. Investment stocks, you know what I mean? Uh, Having good financial advisors around you, investing in the businesses that's gonna keep money coming in on a monthly basis, hopefully. You know what I'm saying? Commercial properties, real estate, you know what I mean? That should be shit that you're looking at. Not buying these dumbass watches and these expensive ass cars. Of course, you want to treat yourself here and there, you know what I'm saying? But don't let that be a consistent thing. Don't let that be a thing where you feel like you have to do it in order to impress people or show people that you got it. Bro, you don't gotta prove shit to anybody. If you really got it, man, I mean, you don't have to prove it to anybody. You know within yourself, and that's what matters. I ain't never see Bill Gates try to prove to a motherfucker that he rich. I ain't never seen Warren Buffett pull out a bankroll to try to prove to motherfuckers he one of the richest people in the world. I never seen Jeff Bezos jump out of his skin to let it be known that he got $100 billion or he's worth $100 billion. I never seen Elon Musk jump, come out here and try to validate why he's the richest man in the world. I never seen them ever do that. So I don't feel like I don't know why us as black people, black, brown people, minorities, whatever, I've never understood why we constantly got to prove that we got it when they don't ever do it. So why the fuck we got to do it? So that was basically my monologue on the situation, man. I ain't really checked the comments. You feel what I'm saying? But I hope you guys, took the time to really listen to that, and I appreciate you guys for coming through and listening. You feel what I'm saying? So let me hear. Let me see what the people guys say. Um, Eduardo Alvarez said the Mayweathers left Michigan, ran to Vegas where the money was, and never came back. See, I'm not really too upset about that because at the end of the day, maybe Floyd wouldn't have been as focused or as successful if he didn't get away from his hometown. Because your hometown could be very distracting. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really mad at that. And Vegas is one of the premier, I guess you could say, boxing homes in the country. So why not? You know what I mean? Like Bruce Carrington from Brownsville, I seen him move over to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? I think Rolly Romero was brought up in Vegas, but I know Tiafimo lived over there for some time. I don't know if David Benavidez lived over there, but he frequents over there. I mean, I know the Haneys moved over there from Oakland, so it's not anything unusual to be honest with you. And Floyd moved over there to be honest in like the late '90s. You know what I'm saying? So, smart move by Floyd, to be honest. Plus, I think that's where Top Rank's headquarters is at, and their gyms and all that. So, just a smart move overall. Josue Hernandez said Mayweather got to stop doing dumb shit. Yeah, and like Floyd at this age now, where it's like even if you didn't come up financially literate, you would think because you're so familiar with money that you would take the time to actually educate yourself on how to keep your money. Floyd always talk about smart investments, and I'm gonna be having I get a 6-figure check every month, and it's like Floyd, like that sound good, bro. But considering all of these, news articles that's out here and who's suing this and who's doing that, and now you on child support, and you know what I mean, because you ain't want to claim this 4-year-old baby that you got running around here, and now you know what I mean, you got like a now they talking about you owe like $1 million in child support. Now you got to pay 33 racks a month, and it's a lot of messy shit going on with Floyd. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely got to tighten up. Like this would have never been a problem with Floyd a few years back when he was getting these big paydays. So, to me, it's like Floyd, you got to make some adjustments, man. Like that, and you quick to make adjustments in the ring, but outside of the ring, it seems like you struggling a little bit. You know what I mean? That resiliency that you got in the ring, you got to find a way to bring that shit out as a businessman, as a person. You know what I mean? Some shit don't need to be prioritized, man. You don't need this big ass entourage. You do not need to be having all these motherfuckers on payroll to try to upkeep some type of lifestyle. You do not need that many cars. You do not that you pay an insurance for all of them. You do not need that many houses that you got to pay property taxes on. You know what I'm saying? Like Floyd could really be just him being as iconic as he is. There's no reason why he should be struggling the way that he's struggling. Allegedly, Canelo invested his money too, more so that doesn't happen to him too. Yeah, I heard Canelo's like investing into like gas stations and what's that like Canelo Energy? He got some shit out in Mexico. I think he got like his own liquor too, and Canelo got his shit together. You feel what I'm saying? So shout out to Canelo, and I hope this isn't a story that he got to go through, because I've heard a lot of Mexican legends who done lost it all as well. Not being focused, fucking with recreational drugs and shit like that. And I'm not saying Canelo's into any of that. I just hope that he doesn't become one of them. But it seems like he's you know, seems like he got his mind in the right place. Corbin Phoenix said you brought up the smart investments up. I mean, that's what Floyd constantly spoke about. He couldn't do an interview without bringing it up. You know what I'm saying? So to hear that he's having financial trouble is like, what happened to these smart investments that you kept referring to? Was that you overcompensating to hide the fact that you weren't financially literate? Did you keep bringing up smart investments because you thought you had some investments set up and you actually didn't, and you were getting fucked over behind the scenes? I wouldn't be surprised if Floyd got fucked out of a lot of his money that he thought he had. Let's remember, he got a lawsuit right now going on with Showtime and Steven Espinoza, and he claims that Al Heyman had channeled his money into different avenues, and Showtime approved of it and they let it happen, and now he doesn't know where that money is. And Floyd, I'm gonna keep it real, that money all gone, brother. I promise you, that money's gone. You should have never. I don't give a fuck how long you've known Al Heyman and none of that. Bro, when it's that type of money, you need to be overlooking all of that. And you need to make it clear that that 9 figures goes to you, not channeling it through other things. All they doing is, what they did was they took that money that you was generating and went and spent that shit in different areas and ultimately fucked you over. And when you got representation like Al Heyman that's allowing this shit to happen, you're finessed. Floyd reckless spending. Hold on. My boy Ralph in the building said, "Oh wait. There's more than that. Hold on." My boy J Cash said, "Addicted to flexing on your own when we get rich." Uh, Ralph said it kind of came back on him whenever he said he has to live an expensive lifestyle. Bullies, what up, brother? Dwight says Floyd could focus on being a promoter for the rest of his life and he'd be fine, but he want to spend money like he's young when he just isn't anymore. That's a fact. The money ain't coming in how it used to. So when you understand that, bro, you gotta start crunching these numbers together and start living below your means, man. There's nothing wrong with that. I promise you that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Junior Frank said Floyd reckless spending caught up to him. Basically. My boy J Cash said all the money Floyd made, he should have the nastiest dividend investment portfolio. Every month and every 3 months, he should be getting 6 to 7 figure checks from investing in ETF, mutual funds, and high dividend stocks. Absolutely. Absolutely. J Cash said in cover positions where options are trying to cover some losses in the back end. Crazy. SOBCV. What up, brother? What's going on? Mr. Big Play Bray said Al come from the music industry, so he knows how to fix the contracts to his benefit. Floyd was out his league. Yeah. Yeah. Sad that this is how the way the story looked like it's going to end, man. And they talking about Floyd Mayweather about to fight Manny Pacquiao at the end of this year, and then I'm hearing people say that Floyd and Mike is still gonna fight, and Floyd is about to do an exhibition with Mike Zambambis. I don't even know who that is, brother. But the fact that you got a crazy lineup like that, it just lets me know that you taking a lot of these, you taking a shit ton of deposits, and you using that shit to take care of some things. When you ever known Floyd to have 3 fights lined up consecutively? Floyd used to fight twice a year. It's like the fuck, shit is insane. It was crazy. Go 787 said, what I miss, God bless your family too, brother. He said I should have been Floyd financial advisor. Hell yeah. Mercer said I heard Al Heyman is managing Javante Davis money. Well, I hope he's, I've heard good things about Al. You know what I mean? But I don't know exactly what happened with Floyd Mayweather's situation. I really don't. It was channeling your money. Showtime, Al Heyman was channeling your money through Showtime, and now that money's missing and you don't know where it is, and this shit is so confusing, bro. I don't know. Ross said, was that shit real when someone said Pacquiao bought one of his facilities or something, or that was cat? I think that was truth. I think he ended up buying one of Floyd Mayweather's old franchise like boxing gyms and opened his own. I don't know, but I think that was true. And if that's the case, man, shout out to Manny Pacquiao. You know what I mean? Invested his money, and I heard Manny Pacquiao had some trouble financially as well. I mean, I was hearing that shit for years. I don't know if that's true. You know what I mean? That's just allegations. You know what I mean? Just reports. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not. But Manny Pacquiao was known for being generous with his money and giving back to his country, and he made hundreds of millions of dollars too. But listen, man, just because you got a lot of money don't mean it's gonna last forever, bro. Nowadays, you can run through 100, $200 million. You know what I mean? As crazy as inflation is nowadays, it ain't shit to burn through 9 figures. So you gotta be careful, man. If you're lucky enough in life to be in that situation, you gotta treat every dollar like it should last, bro. Got to. Everything gotta be calculated, bro. You can't just be out here spending recklessly. Before you know it, you be down on your last dollar. You like, damn, like what the fuck? If you reckless with your spending, that shit will catch up eventually. If Floyd Mayweather situation don't teach you that, I don't know what would. Floyd made 9 figures back to back. They say he touched the B. In total career earnings, they say he touched the B, man. Come on. How many people could say they did that? How many people could say they made $1 billion in life? They say the average man, they say the average man might hit 7 figures in total earnings throughout their life. This man touched 1 billion and just fumbled that shit crazy. It's insane. Pacquiao turned Floyd Jim into his own shit. That's what's up, man. Pacquiao an icon too, so he could franchise some gyms and have motherfuckers. He could use his name and motherfuckers will go ahead and franchise his gyms and make money off of it, and he get his little cut. You know what I mean? That shit. Who wouldn't? That'll sound very attractive as a boxing gym. Manny Pacquiao Boxing Academy. Oh shit. Maybe if I go to Manny Pacquiao Boxing Academy, I could be like Manny Pacquiao. Shit's gonna sell itself. My boy, Mr. Big Play Brace said, when I started my business, my mom said, make sure you're the only one to sign checks and don't give any control of your accounts. Bro, I'm in the banking industry, and that's actually sound advice, man. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I know like a well-known, I'm going to just say this. I know a well-known Philly rapper, right? Not going to say no names. There's plenty of Philly rappers out here. You're not going to know who it is. I don't know exactly what the situation was, but his manager, fucking scumbag, bro. His manager had somehow, some way, ended up becoming a joint account owner on one of his accounts, bro. And behind his back was slowly but surely taking funds out the account, taking funds out the account. Just little shit, probably like 3,000. And then the boy had a heavy multi-million-dollar bank account. You know what I'm saying? And he was taking. And by the time the manager, by the time the rapper found out, Bull was already like 60,000 in. Yo, Ralph, I'm gonna say this, bro. Looking back on that and being in the banking industry now, bro, that niggas is not. I'm gonna tell you this, bro. I'm gonna genuinely tell you this. Nobody's writing a counter check like those blank checks. Nobody's sitting there and writing you out 9 figures on a counter check. I'm gonna do some more research on that, but you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna talk to my guys that's really, top financial advisors and all that. But I'm pretty sure if niggas is giving you a 9 figure payday, they not gonna just write it on a fucking counter check. That's something that most likely will be wired. If it's on any type of check, it's gonna be through a certified check. Money orders don't have that high of a limit, so it won't even be a money order. That shit don't even make sense. If they giving you a 9 figure check, most likely it'll be a certified check because certified checks, the funds are withdrawn immediately. You feel what I'm saying? Like niggas is not writing out $100 million on a blank counter check. Like that's just not like I've never seen that in my life. And I work with plenty of millionaires. Plenty of millionaires. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. He said you should ask Rudy. Let me ask Rudy real quick before I get into the Devin Haney and Jaron Ennis conversation.
Bro, you really need to get checked out. Like dead ass, on God. 1 minute you calling me a faggot and telling me to suck your dick. Next minute, you talking like a whole fairy godmother. You might legitimately be the most schizophrenic person I've ever talked to. You good, man? Like for real?
I'm gonna ask you a question, Rudy.
It's RUDE, you dumbass. But go ahead. What's your question?
How often do you see a counter check written out for $100 million?
Nigga, never. The fuck? You don't just see $100 million check written out, period. That's some billionaire, I just sold my company type shit. Ain't nobody casually writing 9-figure checks like it's a grocery list. The only motherfuckers writing $100 million checks are billionaires, major corporations, or governments. Regular rich niggas don't even write checks like that. So whoever the fuck you saw writing $100 million check, either they lying, it's a movie prop, or they just flexed harder than anybody on earth. Who the fuck you see writing that big ass check?
Floyd Mayweather was showing off a counter check for $100 million. And I'm confused because 9-figure checks aren't usually written on counter checks. They're usually either given through certified checks, wire transfers, things of that nature. I don't see why they would do a 9-figure payment through a counter check when it could bounce.
You're right to be confused. That shit don't make sense in the real world. Floyd showed off a $100 million check multiple times. After the Pacquiao fight in 2015, and again around the McGregor fight. It was a handwritten check from his own company, Mayweather Promotions, made out to himself. Basically him writing himself a big-ass check from one of his accounts to another. It's pure flexing. You're spot on about the mechanics, though. For real 9-figure money, nobody uses a regular counter check. That shit could bounce, has limits, and banks treat large checks with heavy scrutiny. Legit big transfers get done through wire transfers, cashier's checks, or direct bank-to-bank moves. This was just a prop for the cameras. Floyd loves waving money around to stunt, and a big printed check looks better on Instagram than a wire confirmation screenshot. It's the boxing version of a rapper pulling out a fake $1 million stack for the gram. Flashy as hell, but not how actual $100 million payments work.
That boy Rudy was speaking some sense. Try to tell niggas, man, when I was young, I'm like, yo, he really walking around with a $1 million check, bro. That shit was cap. Shit was cap. Bro, if you're having a, and that's another thing, and I ain't even cashed the shit yet. Why not? Why not? Wouldn't you want that money somewhere safe? You dumbass nigga. Bro, I could take, bro, you know, y'all could do that too, right? You know that you could take, let's say you got a business account and they, you order checks and you got some checks ordered to you, delivered to your crib. They could have your LLC right there, the address, all that shit. And you could literally write a check for yourself for $100 million and be like, yo, man, I got a $100 million check right here and I ain't even cashed the shit yet. Anybody could do that. That don't mean that the check legit. And if Floyd ever got a $100 million payment, it was not through no fucking counter check that you could fill in by yourself. And motherfuckers really believe that. He had me when I was a young boy because I wasn't as financially literate as I am now. Yeah. I don't even cash it yet. So what you trying to say, that you don't need it? I bet you need it now. Bet you need it now. Insane. Junior said, mind you, he was flexing that check for like 3 years. Big old goofy. That's a fact. That's definitely a fact. From the Pacquiao fight all the way to the McGregor fight, he was flexing that shit. So whatever time frame that was, when he fought Pacquiao, like 2015, 2016, then he fought McGregor like what, 2017? He was flexing that shit for like 2-3 years. Niggas really fell for that. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, yo, this nigga Floyd he ain't even cashed on the milk, nigga. I don't even think a bank, bro. Banks are so paranoid when it comes to like fraud and all that shit. Bro, if you even deposited that, you can't even deposit that mobily because that's too high of a limit. If you were to bring that to a fucking bank at a teleline, do you know how fucking fast they'll put a hold on that check, bro? The system not letting that shit go. The system will be like, what the fuck is this? $100 million counter check. Oh yeah, we gotta review this. They gonna have that shit on hold for like weeks. Them funds ain't gonna be available. If it's real, them funds ain't gonna be available for 3 to 4 weeks. Shit cooked. You're not touching that bread anytime soon. Most you could do on a mobile deposit is like 5 to 10K, ain't it? It depends. It depends on the financial institution. You feel me? I just know like people will come in all the time like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I tried to do a mobile deposit, but it was too high. And the check will be like for 15,000, 20,000. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to deposit this like in person. So I mean, yeah, I put you in front of the right people. But it's like, bro, Floyd been frauding, bro. Floyd been trying to flex for so long, and he got away with a lot of shit. But all that shit coming back around now, he getting exposed. You know what I mean? Trick said, Mazuma, will you be at all surprised that Floyd Mayweather became a streamer? Absolutely not. Bro, Floyd was a streamer. Floyd was a streamer before everybody else was, man. You remember them 24/7 episodes when he's selling you this lifestyle and he had the gym training and he driving around Rolls Royces and Ferraris and Bugattis and he's showing off $1 million in cash and bro, Floyd was doing all the shit that streamers do, selling you the lifestyle and being all adventurous and Floyd was doing that shit before everybody. Everybody. Floyd might have a little bit too much pride to join this little young bullshit that's going on right now. He probably be embarrassed. Nigga, I'm 50 years old streaming for a check. Like, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did it. If it made financial sense for him. If I was Floyd and I was in a money situation like that, I'd do it too. I'd do it too. You feel me? Floyd know how to sell a lifestyle. He know how to be entertaining. He know how to flex. You feel me? He would do really well streaming, but Floyd ego would probably stop him from doing that. See, Floyd ego don't got in the way of his money a lot of times. Floyd been in his way a whole lot throughout his life. His main character syndrome, you know what I mean? His self-centeredness has stopped him from really obtaining generational wealth. Floyd Mayweather would be the best promoter in the world today if he knew how to put himself, second. Floyd would literally have Floyd Mayweather. He would have Mayweather Promotions, and he will be promoting a fighter like Tank or Carmel Moulton. And as a promoter, you're supposed to promote them, not yourself. But Floyd always found a way to make shit about himself. Floyd is so in the past 20 years that he was professional, he was so accustomed to promoting himself that was the only skill that he picked up. He couldn't make the adjustment because Floyd, real champions make adjustments. Bro, real champions outside of the ring make adjustments as well. Nigga. And Floyd is too arrogant. Floyd is too self-centered. He's too egotistical to promote somebody before him. His own arrogant personality traits is what hindered him from being the best promoter in boxing. Niggas was signing with him just off the strength that he was Floyd. A lot of the times when you sign with a promoter, it's because they got a history of building world champions like Top Rank, Eddie Hearn, Queensberry, motherfucker Don King back in the days, like shit like that. Niggas was signing up, bro. It's Floyd. Of course I'm gonna sign with him. When he's literally shown you no history of, consistently promoting top caliber fighters. He had Tank. That was it. And to be fair, once Tank split from Floyd, he became an even bigger name. Floyd gave him a good cosign, but Floyd was trying to limit him to just being his little man. Tank grew his own wings. It was like, nigga, get the fuck out of here. All these motherfuckers do better after they leave Floyd. That lets you know something about him as a promoter. Floyd wanted my fam one time, but he was on contract with Top Rank. What that mean, Al? What you mean? Wanted my fam one time. What you mean, wanted my fam? Definitely got a little boost, absolutely. Yo, Mazuma, off topic, that July 4th card looks solid as fuck. It's definitely a solid card. It's definitely a solid card. Shout out to Top Rank for putting that shit together. You know what I'm saying? Abdullah Mason versus Joe Cordina in itself is a banger. You feel me? I think that's going to be a great fight. I think Joe Cordina got some little tricks up his sleeve that can make it interesting. Still think Abdullah's going to beat him. I actually think he's going to stop Joe Cordina. But you know what I'm saying? Of course, you got, Bruce Carrington making his comeback. You know what I mean? Great name. He's going to be having his first title defense against an undefeated Mexicano. So that should be a banger. Because the last time he fought a Mexicano, he became world champion. That was entertaining. Faced some controversy as well. He was able to bounce back, get the win. Then, you got Tiger Johnson. You know what I mean? He fighting an undefeated guy, so that's very interesting. You got Scooter Davis. You know what I'm saying? He had a little bit of a, I'm not gonna say a tough fight, but you know what I'm saying? He definitely got some good rounds in his last fight. And he's facing somebody with a winning record, I guess you would say. They still building him. Then you got, the other Mason, the other two Mason brothers. I think it's like five of them. But two of his brothers is fighting and they on the come up as well. One's fighting an undefeated fighter, and the other one they still trying to find a name for him. Shout out to what's his name? Abdul Rahman Mason. Then you got Ibrahim Mason. So shout out to them. And shout out to Abdullah for putting his brothers on the card, man. Shout out to Cleveland. They doing some great shit out there. Trick said, "Great news! Eastside Cruz is now training with Eddie Reynoso." You being sarcastic, Tricks? Um, what I think about that? Very interesting. Not necessarily surprising, but definitely interesting. Because I wonder what enticed Eastside Cruz to want to train with Eddie Reynoso. Is it because he's been having some tough fights lately with Eastside Cruz? I mean, with Lamont Roach, Angel Fierro. Do you feel like he need to change? Um, why would you want to associate yourself with somebody who has been consistently, tied to performance enhancement users? I don't know, man. It's just a bit weird to me, man. Don't be surprised that Eastside Cruz start looking all shredded up and start getting crazy knockouts and all that. Let's not be surprised. I mean, he said he trolling. But I'm not surprised at all, man. A lot of the Mexican fighters want to be around Eddie Reynoso and them. Not a surprise. And I think Eastside Cruz and Canelo and them already had a relationship. He used to be wearing the no boxing, no life gloves, so he probably already had like a little business deal with them. They had some type of business relationship. But something to definitely keep your eyes on. Uh, I guess they work out pretty well. Eastside a pressure fighter. He let his hands go. Maybe Eddie Reynoso could teach him some better defense. You know what I'm saying? Eastside keep his hands up good, but you know what I mean? He can get his upper body movement a bit better. Uh Maybe Eastside Cruz. I don't know. I don't know. Eddie Reynoso fighters ain't necessarily known for their jabs. Feel me? But I feel like that's definitely something Eastside Cruz need. Definitely need a jab. And no, you don't need to be tall in order to have a good jab. I wasn't the tallest. I ain't had the longest wingspan, but I out jabbed a lot of motherfuckers. Yeah, man. But anyways, man, I wanted to speak about this Devin Haney versus Jaron Ennis situation, man. Not saying that they're gonna fight anytime soon or that they're necessarily rivals or anything like that. But I have been noticing some back and forths. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like all of this started to happen when Bill Haney had put together that list. You know what I'm saying? And we all remember the list. There was a lot of guys on there like Rowley, Ryan Garcia, Brian Norman was one time on the list. Uh, Keyshawn Davis and Jaron Ennis was, Geronte Davis, and then of course Jaron Ennis was on the list as well. And that shit died down for a little bit, but there was like a little situation where the higher ups were trying to get them two guys to fight. Jaron Ennis is on his way to 154 pounds. He already had left the division at the time. Devin Haney was moving up into the division. They offered to fight for both guys. Devin Haney said yes. You know what I'm saying? At 147 pounds, Booth said we can make the fight happen, but let's do it at 152. Devin Haney said, yo, why would I fight him at 152 when I haven't even fought at 147? I feel like both of them guys, would have fought each other. I just think the timing wasn't right. I don't think neither one of them ducked each other. I think both of them guys were confident going into the fight in terms of their abilities to beat each other. So I just think it was bad timing. One guy was leaving the division, one guy was coming into the division. So it is what it is. But since then, Bill Haney has been, talking his talk. And I just seen him $1 million worth of game the other day with Gilly and Wallow. And, when they had brought up Jaron Ennis, Bill Haney made it clear that he feels like Jaron Ennis is lacking in the experience department. And that's definitely a valid criticism about Boots. He's been trying to get the big fights. And, unfortunately, he hasn't been able to come across any till now with Xander Zayas. But, Bill Haney feels like Boots has never been in a fight where people actually thought that he would lose. So that lets me know that he feels like Boots is still wet behind the ears. You know what I mean? That he's relatively green. And, yeah, he's a great talent and all that. But he hasn't really been against all odds just yet in your career. So, just based off of that, I guess he feels like his son will have the advantage because, he's more experienced than Boots. He's experienced things in the range that Boots has yet to experience. And they were speaking back and forth about that. And he feels like his son could defeat Jaron Ennis. I don't think that they would put him on the list if they didn't think if he thought otherwise. I disagree. I think that Boots would, defeat Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney has some great abilities. He got quick feet, quick hands, experience for sure. One of the best jabs in the game. But I do think that, Boots' athleticism, his speed, his ring intelligence, his punch placement, I think it'll be only a matter of time before Jaron Ennis catches up with Dev. And I don't know if Dev is going to be able to take what Boots is dishing out. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? What? You in Egypt right now for the Usyk fight? That's fire, bro. Salute, man. If you really over there, bro, enjoy. Enjoy, brother. That's dope. But more recently, I felt like there's a little bit more tension going on between the Haneys and the Ennises. And Haney has a better jab than Boots, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, that's not necessarily a bad take. Dev does have one of the best jabs in boxing. I'm not gonna go as far as to say that Haney has a better jab than Boots, but he's definitely more consistent with his jab than Boots. So if if you put them two together, that's fine. I think that when Boots is using his jab, I think his jab could go up just against anybody else's. Maybe I'm being biased, but I've actually seen Boots jab in person. He has a phenomenal jab. He's just, he's he uses other things outside of his jab in order to be effective. Athleticism, reflexes, shit like that. But I'm gonna say that a jab is more important to Devin Haney's style than it is for Boots. That's what I'm gonna say. I think the difference between both of them is that if you take a jab away from Devin Haney, he's not Devin Haney. But if you take a jab away from Boots, he's still Boots. You feel me? I feel like he got more. He got other shit to lean on. And look, everybody needs a jab. Let's not get it fucked up. But if you were to take a jab away from both guys, I feel like Boots would still be the more effective fighter. I feel like everything is centered around Devin Haney's jab. Boots, it seems like his speed, his reflexes, his overall athleticism is his bread and butter, and his jab just happens to be a nice tool in his arsenal. That's what I think. Trick said, "How about footwork between Boots and Haney?" They both got great footwork. I think that in terms of movement, Devin Haney is more conditioned to be, to move. You know what I mean? So in terms, if we're talking about like foot speed, you know, so there's footwork that helps you defensively, and there's footwork that helps you offensively, right? And I do think from a defensive standpoint, uh, Devin Haney, I feel like Devin Haney's footwork is more effective defensively. It helps him more. I really feel like his Devin Haney's legs is his like best source of defense. Now, if we talking about offensively, when Boots is, uh, you know, when Boots is pivoting and he's shifting and creating angles offensively, I think Boots is better in that department. So Devin got quick. I think he got quicker feet than Boots. I think he's a better mover than Boots, and defensively, his footwork is more effective than Boots. Boots got L steps. You know what I'm saying? To offset his opponent's footwork and all of that, but Boots footwork stands out more when he's on the offense. Devin Haney's footwork stands out more when he's on the defense. So they both got good footwork, but in different ways. You feel me? So there's that. I hope I answered your question. But they both, I'm being totally unbiased with this. Like obviously, Boots is one of my favorite fighters. But I got a lot of respect for Devin Haney and his abilities. That's not an easy fight for neither one of them guys. I think Boots beats him, but I don't think this is like a cakewalk. Like Boots is gonna have to figure some shit out because Dev is gonna make him work for every and any opportunity that's there. What he says, don't think Boots will be able to cut off the ring versus Haney. Well, Devin Haney's definitely going to do a lot of moving, and y'all do know that there's gonna be times where Dev is gonna have to plant his feet and fire. Like y'all do know that, right? And Devin Haney has a great jab, but what happens when a great jab is in front of him? Does he have proper jab defense? I don't know, man. I'm gonna keep it real. I think Devin Haney's defense is leaky. I think everybody. Oh, Boots gets hits clean. Well, I've seen when Dev's not moving and he sits in the pocket, he gets hit too. You feel me? And there's gonna be moments. Dev could do all that shit that he do defensively, but offense is just as important of a role in the fight. So he's gonna have to take chances. You feel me? So. And I just don't see anybody in boxing just completely taking away Boots' offense. I just don't see that happening. Foot movement ain't gonna be enough to offset Boots' offense. So it's not gonna happen. Like we seen Karen move and he got shut out. You feel me? But like I said, Dev's experience, his footwork, his hand speed, his foot speed. It'll be difficult for anybody. Let's not get it fucked up. I really think that's there's gonna be some Boots gonna be frustrated throughout the fight. He will be. I think he figures it out. I think he lands cleaner, more effective punches than Haney. I think he's susceptible to hurting Devin Haney because guess what? Devin Haney might be fast and shit, but Boots is fast in his own right. And Boots could really hit Haney with some shit he don't see. You feel me? And who's to say? Who's to say? And what if Boots neutralizes Devin's jab? Because Boots could be elusive too. I think if you neutralize Haney jab, he cooked. I just don't see what. I don't see what I don't see Haney sitting in the pocket waiting for Boots to come in and plant body shots like he did with Loma. That'd be stupid. That'd be a dumbass mistake. You sit there and you try to run Boots in the shot, you're gonna get hit with some hot shit. He not gonna jump in like no Loma with no short ass arm reach. You gonna see a jab come down the middle, and he gonna fire some shit right behind that, some shit you don't see, and now you looking up at the lights. Like, I just don't see him taking that approach. But like I said, it's an interesting fight. It's an interesting fight, and I wouldn't be mad if niggas pick Dev. Dev is a phenomenal talent, very intelligent, with an underrated resume. I think his experience for his age is very unique. There's a lot of people his age who haven't been through what he's been through. Trick said, does it go 12 rounds or you see a stoppage? I could see both, bro. I could see Dev moving, and probably getting outlanded by Boots, but doesn't really get hit with crazy shit. Or I could see Boots catching up to Dev and stopping him. If Dev stands in the pocket with Boots, he will get knocked out. That's a fact. I mean, it's my opinion, but I just don't see, like, Dev is not a better inside fighter than Boots. He's not as creative offensively as Boots. He's not a better counterpuncher than Boots, in my opinion. I think his best chance is to outbox. He gonna have to try to give Boots a boxing lesson. I just don't. I think Boots got too much artillery to sit there and just be going at it with him. Like, Dev probably got a 9 mil. This motherfucker Boots got a 50 cal. I'm trying to tell you, bro. Imagine Devin drops Boots. You never know. I mean, yeah, you right. You never know. And I'm not saying that Boots is exempt from getting dropped. Anybody could get dropped. Anybody could get stopped. Anybody could get knocked out. I've never been one of those people on here that has ever said that a person's unbeatable. You can't find that nowhere. Nowhere. There's some fighters that in their prime that look like they was close to being unbeatable, but there's no such thing as a perfect man. There's no such thing as somebody who cannot be beat. We see some fighters look close to it. Like prime Sugar Ray Leonard looked unbeatable. Then Roberto Duran caught up to his ass. Muhammad Ali in his prime looked like he was unbeatable at heavyweight. Then Joe Frazier got on his ass. You know what I'm saying? Prime Roy Jones. I guess you could say Montel Griffin gave him his first loss. That was some bullshit, but in my opinion. But that wasn't really a loss. He avenged that shit with a first round knockout. But Prime Roy Jones looked damn near unbeatable. Like, but there's no such thing as an unbeatable fighter. Now, what's going to be interesting, and I didn't even get to finish up what I'm talking about because a lot of people seem to be sleeping on this, the tension that's currently ongoing between Devin Haney and Jaron Ennis. Now, I was telling y'all, that shit started when Bill Haney was putting out that list and had Jaron Ennis's name mentioned. Then, there was the negotiations that, quickly fell through. But what really started to circulate or at least get Devin Haney on Jaron Ennis's radar or Jaron Ennis getting on Devin Haney's radar was this little back and forth questions that Jaron Ennis was getting where he was like, this fighter or this fighter, this fighter or this fighter, right? And they brought up Karen Chukazan. Floyd is not unbeatable, brother. Phenomenal fighter. Not unbeatable. He's been in close, controversial fights. He's not unbeatable, brother. Terrence Crawford's not unbeatable. Andre Ward's not unbeatable. Joe Calzacchi's not unbeatable. Rocky Marciano's not unbeatable. Edwin Valero wasn't unbeatable. Finito Lopez wasn't unbeatable. None of these guys are unbeatable. For them to be unbeatable, they will have to be a perfect fighter. There's no such thing as a perfect fighter. You feel me? But anyways, Boots was answering these questions, and one of the questions was Karen Chukazan versus Devin Haney. Now, I don't know what prompted Jaron Ennis to say Karen Chukazan. Maybe that was him putting, it was one of two things. He was either putting respect on Karen's name or he wanted to troll Devin Haney. But regardless, Devin Haney peeped that and he didn't say too much about that. Fast forward, Karen Chugazan gets absolutely schooled by Patty Donovan. Devin Haney comes out with a tweet and says, "This is the nigga that y'all said could beat me." Says something along those lines. Let me go ahead and pull that tweet up just to make sure. Let me get the wording right. So Devin says something along the lines of. Devin said, "Wait, Boo said the Karen dude would beat me. He was trolling, right?" And this is after Karen lost to Patty Donovan. Somebody by the name of that one guy says, "I think he said Karen will beat everyone they named. He only said the shit because that was his hardest fight." Devin replied, "I said, nah, he said Earl would have beat him in his prime." So he was like, all right, so you said Earl would have beat him, but you didn't say that I could beat him. You serious? So he was pretty much like saying like, yo, Boost, like basically that was a terrible take. Like the nigga you just root said could beat me, lost. Like, fuck you talking about? So then, of course, shout out to my boy YSM Sports Media. He comes out with an interview with Bozy Ennis. Shout out to the OG Bozy Ennis. And in the interview that Jamil Parker had conducted with YSM Sports Media, Bozy says that he believes Keyshawn Davis beats Devin Haney. Now, let's get into this clip. Pound for Pound posted it on his Twitter. So let's actually hear what Bozy has to say. Let's hear it.
If I were to put my money down on it, I'll put my money on Keyshawn, walking him down. You know what I mean? Even though he like the box, though, but I think he'll try to walk Devin down.
Now, how does Devin offset that? Stabs to
box,
the body?
Keep boxing like he normally box and move. He's real intelligent when it comes to that. You know what I mean? But in the war, no, he's not going to be victorious in the war fighting with Keyshawn at all. If I were to put my money down on it.
That's what Bozy had to say. Obviously, that's his opinion. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's trolling at all. I actually think he means that. That's just his take on the whole situation. I guess he's observed Keyshawn Davis and seen that he likes to fight, has some good punch placement, some decent power, great finishing ability. And I guess he felt like, that would be his advantage going up against Devin Haney, who seems to be a smart, calculated, athletic, quick outboxer. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it was a pretty logical, sound place of thinking. I don't think Bozy's hating at all. I just think that he feels like for Devin to win, he has to box. And, in the fight, I think he thinks Keyshawn Davis will be the one coming forward. And I agree with him. I don't see Keyshawn Davis being able to box from the outside with no fucking Devin Haney. I don't think he outboxes Devin Haney. I think in order for him to be successful against Dev, he has to be the aggressor. He needs to come forward. He needs to let his hands go. So I agree with him from that standpoint. Now, do I think that Keyshawn beats Dev? I don't. I think Dev's speed, his jab, his straight shots, I think they'll give Keyshawn a lot of problems. And this is somebody who, Keyshawn, who's been susceptible to right hands, especially when Nair Albright throughout his career. And Dev, he shoots that right hand really straight down the middle off of that jab. And that could spell trouble for somebody like Keyshawn, who, in my opinion, has been visibly hurt before against smaller guys. So I don't know. I don't think it's as simple as just walking Dev down. I don't think that's really ideal with, these guys who rehydrate to 160, 170 pounds with 8-ounce gloves on. I don't think that's really smart to do. But I think that Keyshawn would have to be the aggressor in order to come out successful in the fight. That's just my opinion. You feel what I'm saying? But he said if he had to put his money down, he picking Keyshawn because I guess he feels like if a fight breaks out, he feels like Keyshawn will get the better of that. I do think that Keyshawn is more, more aggressive than Dev. I think he punches harder than Dev. I think that if they were to get, if they were to go band for band, I do think that Keyshawn would probably hurt Devin before Devin hurts him. Maybe. I do think that Devin has some underrated punching power, but I think if a fight breakout, that's more of Keyshawn's game. You feel me? But I will pick Devin to win regardless. Let me see. Anonymous said, I think it got a lot to do with Keyshawn working at Bosey's. I remember he said he's been multiple times when talking about Keyshawn versus Andy Cruz in the past. I've never heard of Keyshawn being there. So that's interesting. Maybe he was, and I just never heard about it, or nobody really cared to speak about it. I guess at that time, Keyshawn wasn't anybody. But I know Shakur used to go over there a lot, so maybe he tagged along with Shakur. I don't know. But I don't know, man. It didn't really sound like Bosey was being biased. You feel what I'm saying? I think he genuinely feel that way. And he did put some respect on Devin Haney. He admitted that he's a good boxer. And I do think that if shit were to get gritty, and Dev is a dog. Like, if you force him to fight, he will fight. Let's not get it fucked up. But I do think that will be more of Keyshawn Davis's forte, if it were to come to that. So I'm not really mad at his take. You know, obviously I disagree. I think Devin would win, but I don't think he said anything crazy or wildly disrespectful. But Devin Haney responded to it and he just laughed at it. You feel what I'm saying? Look, people still condoning what Ryan Garcia did. The hatred is very real in boxing, man. The hatred is very real in boxing. But you know, that's what Bosey feels like. What happened between Keyshawn and Dev. And, you know, Dev he taking it in. Like, he hear what motherfuckers are saying. And he said he on the hunt for, you know, Keyshawn Davis. So we'll see what will happen in due time. But I am picking Dev to beat Keyshawn. That's for sure. You know what I mean? My boy Des215 said, yeah, I'm not mad at his opinion, but I think he's wrong. Yeah, we'll see, though. Maybe Bosey see something we don't. Go787 said, I think Haney will beat Keyshawn. Only chance by key is KO, in my opinion. That's more what I'm leaning towards, too. That's what I think would happen. Like, I just don't. I think that Devin Haney would give Keyshawn a lot of problems. You know what I mean? Des215 said Keyshawn ain't fighting him no time soon, though. I was reading some shit about Keyshawn Davis. Apparently, he was saying in it latest interview that the reason why he didn't fight Devin Haney was because Top Rank didn't want him to. Did I hear that correct, y'all? Did anybody hear that? Keyshawn said some shit, mind you. This dude, and this is why I don't trust Keyshawn, because he constantly lies. But if you hear Keyshawn, he'll say in interviews, "Oh, Devin ducking me. Oh, Devin don't want to fight me. Fight me. Fight me." But then say that the reason why he's not fighting Devin Haney is because Top Rank didn't allow him to. So which one is it? Is this nigga ducking you, or Top Rank don't want you to fight that nigga? Which one is it? Because you know Devin Haney done fucked that money up at Top Rank a few times already. You know what I mean? He went ahead and he, you know, became undisputed under Top Rank, got that rematch, beat him again, then went and took their little golden boy over there. And Lomachenko, when it beat him, had that nigga ready to retire. You feel me? So they like, nigga, you ain't about to come back around here without being signed to us and take care and try to fuck up our situation. You already fucked up our money with Brian Norman. We got to build him back up. See, Dev's been terrorizing Top Rank for a while. I'm saying? So Top Rank, man, like, man, we not about to keep giving this motherfucker opportunities. And then he, you know, he not signing with us. And then, you know, then he going to go ahead and we got to go through the rebuilding process and put even more money up, hoping that they become a world champion again so we can get our return on investment. Fuck that. So I seen some shit where Keyshawn, I'm going to find that video. Keyshawn said that Top Rank won't allow him to fight Devin Haney, but then in other interviews, he's saying that, you know, Devin scared of him. Devin ducking him. So is Devin ducking you or Top Rank not giving you the green light, nigga? Which one is it? confusing. But Bob Arum said Haney can't sell. Well, I tell you what, I mean, based off of what we seen in the last fight, Keyshawn can't neither. You know what I'm saying? So what we talking about for real? I seen a lot of tickets was available in Norfolk for Nair and Keyshawn. You know what I mean? But Norfolk ain't forget what the fuck he did the last time he fought over there. So they wasn't buying the ticket this time. They thought that they was gonna be able to sell. Oh, it's a rivalry between Keyshawn and Nair, and they fought before, but Keyshawn couldn't put down the weed, so they're fighting again. It's the only guy he didn't beat, and y'all tried y'all best to try to sell that bullshit, man. The last time they was in Norfolk, they were fighting. They were fighting in the locker rooms. He headbutted Nair. It's personal. He beat Nair's brother. I mean, he beat Keyshawn's brother. Niggas is like, so what, nigga? Just for you to miss weight again. You made the weight eventually, but just for you to miss weight again. It's like, your own hometown don't fuck with you, nigga. That shit showed it. Only niggas that fuck with you in Norfolk is your two brothers and your mother and your sisters, man. You know what I mean? They gonna sing that national anthem and shit. Your brother's gonna fight on the cards, and I mean, y'all one big happy family. Nobody else don't. I ain't see AI and Michael Vick over there. I know that. I ain't see them niggas over there. Not this time. T-Bud Goatford said, who the fuck can sell in this day and age, though, with all the illegal streaming? Tank barely do 200K. I mean, in terms of one thing that illegal streaming can't do is provide you the real life experience. So ticket sales are still, a thing. Gates are still a big thing. I was just reading that Shakur and T.O. did a little bit over a $3 million gate when they fought. So boxing is live and well. You can still produce some solid numbers even when, you have these illegal streaming services and shit like that. Let's not get it fucked up. Are we going to be seeing 3 million pay-per-view buys anytime soon? No, not at all. That might die out a little bit because why would people buy it and spend their money during these hard times when, you can watch it on a fucking illegal website for free? A lot of people do it. But, there's nothing that beats the real life experience. You feel me? Trick said, I don't think the fight makes sense right now. Plenty of other fights for Keyshawn. I mean, you may feel that way, and you might be totally right. But guess what? Keyshawn don't think that. Keyshawn don't think that. Every chance he get, he talking shit about Dev. So in his head, that might be, that must be a fight that makes sense to him. Unless in the back of his head, he know it don't make sense right now, and he's just clout chasing. Either way, he looked bad in this situation. So yeah, I be peeping that little. I see the growing tension that's going on between the Haneys and the Ennises. I'm with it. I fuck with it. I don't care. I hope these niggas end up not liking each other. I want to see these motherfuckers fight. You feel me? I think that's a slept-on fight that could do some big numbers. Jaron Ennis versus Devin Haney, bro. Let's get it popping. I love it. Devin Haney, he said he don't got nothing locked in yet. They said that he's negotiating, but he should have something coming up soon. Hopefully he got that big money behind him. Jaron Ennis is represented by, Eddie Hearn and all that. It's a big fight. And look, Dev, keep it real, bro. You was acting like you wanted that fade with Xander Zayas. So if it's a situation where Boots go ahead and he beat Xander Zayas and become unified, you better have that same energy for Jaron Ennis. Because you was like, oh, Xander got Xander unified. Oh, how? Then you was acting like you wanted that fade with Xander, right? I'm sure Dev would have fought him out, And obviously, if you want his belt, you would have to go up to 54. You know what I mean? So if Boots take over that role and you ain't got no opportunities available to fight other champions and you want to do some historic shit, look no further, brother. Look no further. That's a big fight, man. And if Dev beat Boots, oh my God. your stock gonna go through the roof. If Boots beat Dev, oh my God, your stock gonna go through the roof. Like it's a lot of upside for both guys if they come out victorious. You know what I mean? Ralph said, he said publicly, man, I don't even like this making weight stuff. And Keyshawn definitely said that. Making weight is not for me. Nigga, what? that's like Arnold Schwarzenegger and them motherfuckers and they was bodybuilders. Man, taking steroids just ain't for me. Nigga, that's part of y'all job. Y'all shoot the fuck up and y'all flex y'all biceps, nigga. Cutting weight is a part of a boxer's duties, man. That's like a cop saying, I hate pulling people over. It's part of your just pulling people over just ain't for me. Nigga, you're a cop. That's part of what you're supposed to do. Like, that's nigga, how you got a career and then you totally against one of the main things in your job description. Shit don't make no sense. I'm a firefighter, but climbing just ain't for me. Nigga, what? They get the fuck on that ladder and do what the fuck you need to do, nigga. What? Boots need to call out Fundora next. I mean, he did say he want all the champions though. But realistically speaking, to me, if Boots were to defeat Xander Zayas, I think realistically his next fight is Josh Kelly. Because you know what I mean? Like Josh Kelly may not have wanted to fight Boots at the time because he wasn't a champion and all that. But he wanted to fight you know, he wanted to fight Xander Zayas, right? He was interested in fighting Xander Zayas because he had 2 belts. That fell out for whatever reason that may be. But if Boots, somebody who's within his promotional stable, go ahead and get 2 belts and he in your division, Eddie Hearn going to definitely push for that. Heavy. And Josh Kelly got to answer that phone call. And if the money right, Josh Kelly will be a fool to walk away from it. But if he do that, he's scary as shit. Now, Fundora he's gonna be the problem. He's gonna be the difficult fight to be made. Just based off of how scary Samson Luca is moving. Did you know that motherfucker he asked a kid in his early 20s for a rehydration clause. A rehydration clause when you got a 6'7", 154-pound champion. Gave up a belt because the nigga ain't want to do no rehydration clause. And Sebastian Fundora says that he don't want to unify. That the WBC is the only belt that's been able to work with him, and you know if these belts don't want to work with him, then he doesn't want to fight. AKA, if you don't let him do what the fuck he want to do, then he don't want to deal with you. And that's just not how the way these championship belts work. Those belts come with obligations, sir. So I think that Sebastian Fundora, not saying that Boots can't do it. Not saying that he can't do it. But it's going to be very difficult because of all of the hurdles, all of the obstacles that's going to come with making that fight. You know, Sans Luca said, oh, it has to be on PBC. You know, and you got it. They're going to make shit difficult. They probably going to try to put a rehydration clause on Boots too because he ain't no small guy. So we'll see, man. I think they're going to protect Sebastian Fundora at all costs. I mean, but I think Boost beats the shit out of Sebastian Fundora. They all hyping up Fundora now because he beat up on Lil Keith, and before that he beat up on Tim Tszyu, and that's cool. It's all good. But it's a little bit different when the motherfucker that's up against you, arms ain't short. Neither though. Fundora might get arrow next, and don't nobody want to see that shit. We gotta see how the way Errol gonna respond to the Tim Tszyu fight. We gotta see that first. We don't know what we gonna get from Errol. Ronnie Shields and them acting like he cool and all that, and that's that's all right. But a trainer can say whatever he want. I seen trainers boost up fighter heads all the time, and they go in there and they fight like shit. So not saying that Ronnie Shields a liar, but I gotta see it to believe it. And just because you look good in the gym don't mean you're gonna look good in the fight. And all of that, I don't do tune-up shit. That shit might hurt Errol. Fundora all hype, hella duck. It's a big ass duck, boy. Motherfucker don't want no trouble. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody that came through and show love as always. If y'all could go ahead and hit the like button on the way in, that'd be very much appreciated. We're on the road to 4K. We went into the 3,500 mark. Looking to crack that 3,600 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. I'll be back at y'all with another live, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow to continue cooking up on what's going on in the boxing world, man. Until then, hope you guys have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.